In this episode, I will give you a total recap of Battlefield Hardline plot. Consider yourself warned about upcoming spoilers, leave a thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe to my channel with all the notifications. Battlefield Hardline is a first-person shooter published by EA in 2015 as part of a beloved Battlefield series. But unlike other Battlefield games, this one tells a story of a police officer instead of a soldier as usual, so it focuses more on crime fighting and typical police job action like heists, arrests and searching for evidence, instead of a military warfare. The intro shows us Officer Nick Mendoza being transferred by a jail bus to prison. Then the story takes us back 3 years earlier. Mendoza along with Carl Stoddard make a drug bust that goes violent and ends with a shootout followed by a car chase after the suspect. The game really tries to look as a typical police TV series like Miami Vice. The main thing is there's a new drug called hotshot, so police prepares a special operation to find and capture whoever is behind it.
Oh shit! The right to remain silent. Oh, you heard this before, huh?
After the arrest, Captain Julian Dawes partners up Nick Mendoza with Officer Kai Dao to follow the lead of a cocaine broker named Tyson Latchford. They go to slums to find a guy named Tup, who is Tyson's longtime friend with a criminal record. They know he's dealing cocaine in the neighborhood, so they convince him to wear a wire and go to Tyson's place to find the suspect. Tup convinced Tyson into selling him drugs, but at the same time a rival gang shows up and starts shooting all over the place. Mendoza and Dao step in and try to find Tyson. Turns out Tyson was never there, and they only find a notebook that Tyson was using to communicate with the others. Turns out he is hunted by killers who were sent by cartels, so they have to find him before they will. Soon after they arrive in Tyson's safe house, gangsters show up and Dao is wounded. Mendoza has to hold the attack before the support shows and saves the day.
Hey, we're cops! We're cops! She's hit!
I think you've hit an artery.
You're lucky you didn't bleed to death.
After Kai Dao is recovered, Dawes gives them another task. This time, they need to bring Leo Ray from the Elmore Hotel. Leo Ray is a drug dealer who wants to cooperate with police, but when they meet him on the parking lot, he tells he will only talk to Dawes, so things get a bit nasty and some other gangsters show up trying to kill Leo. But he manages to run away, leaving cops trapped in a parking lot shootout. They manage to escape through the basements, but it turns out the whole hotel is occupied by gangsters, but Leo is still hiding in the security office, so they have to get to him and walk him out of the building. Mendoza takes an armored truck, and after a crazy heist on the closed part of the highway, Leo is saved and Dawes takes him over to the safe place. Now Dawes wants Mendoza and Dao to investigate the swamps. Leo told the police that Remy Nels is the drug dealer that stands behind hotshot business, and it were his soldiers who tried to kill Leo at the Elmore Hotel. Also, smugglers use planes to drop drug packages to the swamps, and gangsters use motorboats to collect them. They find few packages and mark them for evidence. Mendoza fights an alligator and Dao actually saves Mendoza's life this time. After that, they found out that Leo was killed by Nels' people for his cooperation with police. They locate Nels by tracking the evidence they found, but he escapes with a motorboat saying that he has a deal with Stoddard. And it really looks like Stoddard has taken over the case, but Mendoza decides to act on his own and enters Miami warehouse where Nels is hiding. They found him and try to arrest him, but Stoddard breaks in and just shoots him in the head. Mendoza is furious because he knows that Nels could confess about Stoddard being corrupted, but Dao tells him to let it go, and she takes part of the money that Stoddard is stealing from Nels. Stoddard gives a small amount to Mendoza, but he refuses and leaves. In Dao's office, it turns out that Dao was just checking if they can trust Mendoza. And since he didn't took the money, now Dao considers him as a part of the team. He tells Mendoza that every cop can be corrupted, and no one can be trusted, so they have to work on their own. Dawes tells them to go back to the warehouse and look for more evidence. Meanwhile, a hurricane is invading the coast. Mendoza finds a voice recorder with a recording of a conversation between him and Stoddard. Kai says that a puppet found in the office can only be bought in one place in town, So of course, they go there. Turns out, it's filled with thugs, so Mendoza sneaks in from the roof. Inside, Stoddard has a meeting with Nels's people, referring to him as their boss. Mendoza sneaks in and finds him over a dead drug dealer body. Few seconds later, Stoddard saves Mendoza's life, and they both escape from the building that was set on fire by the remains of the Nels's soldier. Outside the warehouse, Mendoza wants to arrest Stoddard, but he receives a call from Kai, and she is in trouble, so they both going to help her. Kai is trapped in a mall, surrounded by Nels's soldiers. When they reach her and safely get out of the mall, Mendoza wants to arrest Stoddard again, but this time Dawes shows up. Mendoza gives him evidence on Stoddard being connected to Miami drug business. Dawes destroys the evidence, and it turns out he and Kai are corrupted, and Mendoza helped them to find and destroy evidence. Plus, they framed him into taking dirty money by transferring $30,000 to his bank account. Back to the present day, after 3 years in jail, Mendoza is on a prison bus being transferred. Turns out the top, the guy they made to wear a wire, is in the same bus. He is sent by Tyson, and soon Tyson himself shows up, blows up the bus, and with the help of Tab, Mendoza escapes. He meets with Tyson and Kai. She is the mastermind of the Mendoza's escape, and she apologizes for what happened and explains that Dawes is a bad guy who took over the drug business in Miami over Tyson and framed her. So Dawes looks like a hero now in the media, claiming that he put end to the drug chaos in Miami, while actually he took control of it behind the scenes. Now he wants to make a law enforcement a private business, and he looks for investors. Now since he has Miami, his next target is LA. And Kai has a plan to stop Dawes, but she needs help from Mendoza. Mendoza still hates her guts, but he doesn't have much of a choice. He can help her or go back to prison. Kai has an inside man inside of one of Dawes' side business. His name is Boomer, and he used to work for the military. Boomer is hacking Dawes' computers, and he has a disk with evidence of Dawes being ahead of an organized crime. But Boomer is not answering any calls, so Tyson and Mendoza decide to break into a used cars showroom. There Mendoza finds a disc, and the team tries to escape, but a truck shows up and smashes their car. After a shootout in the parking, Mendoza steals a car and drives through the suburbs. They reach a junkyard and find Boomer, who was captured while trying to download the files from the computer. Mendoza secures his notebook and helps him escape from the junkyard, but police shows up, and they need to lose the tail driving through the sewers and underground station. Boomers explains that junkyard is used to put drugs in stolen cars that are delivered by trains from all over the country. The guy named Kang runs the place, and Dawes is responsible for delivering the cars. They go to a car repair shop where Kang is putting drugs into cars. Inside, there's like a tons of cocaine, and Tyson feels like Christmas has come sooner, but he has trouble with a forklift and gets stuck on a railroad. So puff goes the coke. Boomer hacks Kang's computer and discovers there's a party in a billionaire's house named Nail Rogue. Mendoza and Kai go there and break inside to plant a wire. But at the same time they're planting the device, a Rogue's bedroom. The security puts the power back on, and turns out Rogue is back in the house, so Mendoza and Kyle had to hide in the closet. Stoddard works for Rogue, and during the meeting with drug dealers from LA, they force them to pay them money and receive a free pass for drug shipment in return, as Rogue and Dawes are controlling corrupted LA police. Mendoza puts a phone in one of the bags with money to track its location. But all of a sudden, Rogue pops up on a huge plasma, and turns out he was watching Mendoza sneaking in all the time on his security cameras. He thinks Mendoza is just a thief and alarms his gangsters. But then Kai shows up and points a gun to Rogue's head. But at this time, gangsters are already all over the place, and there's a heavy gunfight ended with some martial art kicks from Kai and confession about her motivation to destroy Dawes.
I want him ruined. Because that's what he does. He ruins people.
Boomer tracks a phone located in the suitcase. It's a huge, hard-to-get building. But first, Nick and Boomer go to meet Boomer's friend to borrow a special safe-breaking robot named the Beast. Turns out it's Alexandra Daddario in a white trash cosplay. She takes them to her father's place, And this guy is a bit overprotective, putting a GPS device on his daughter's hand. Also, he runs a little private army of radical nationalists, and he kinda hates Boomer's guts. Not because of his color scheme, because he dated his daughter. At the beginning of the conversation, things look quite okay, but Tony and his men soon gunpoint Mendoza and Boomer and capture them hungry for money they can get for delivering Mendoza's head. Well, I guess they should have seen it coming, but they didn't spend much time in the cell since Boomer easily opens the door and they escape through the silos and with a little help of Dune, played by beloved Alessandro Daddario. After helping Boomer and Mendoza escape from her father's private military base, she says bye-bye to the boys and her GPS and leaves with a fancy car. Meanwhile, the gang take a classic PUBG vehicle and drive through the desert to find an old airport where the beast is hidden. Turns out Tony has like a private army there, because you know what is a Battlefield game without a tank mission, right? This one-on-one tank duel with Tony ends up with Boomer and Mendoza leaving with an airplane forward the sunset. Now they have all they need to go to Miami for the final chapter. And while they're preparing for a big finale, all of a sudden the safe house is attacked by Stoddard, but Mendoza is faster in this duel, and he manages to kill him. Back in Miami, Tyson, dressed as a worker, infiltrates the Dawes headquarters. Boomer covers the security camera working from a van outside the building. Tyson drops the rope from a roof. That's their escape route. Mendoza and Kyle sneak into the parking lot and they meet Tyson to give him the package of a C4 explosions. This mission feels kinda like Die Hard, you know, the tall building, a lot of bad guys and sneaking. And I know it's not Christmas, but actually it's 4th of July, so maybe it was supposed to look like Die Hard after all. Tell me what you think in a comment section and maybe you spotted some other Easter eggs. Mendoza and Kyle find a private elevator and blew up the C4 that was planted at the water tank on the roof. Water fills the elevators and they swim up using oxygen masks. And I guess 4th of July fireworks masks the explosion a little bit and the whole team meets to open the safe. Now that the beast has done its job with the safe, Tyson grabs the door and opens it and boom! They were trapped by the explosives. That means Dawes knew they were coming for him. Actually, he calls Mendoza and tells him that he is waiting for them at Santa Rosada. And one epic, oh my god, oh no, what the hell, rope slide and some street shooting later, they meet Boomer on the bay and use a boat to escape. And it turns out Tyson is not dead, but just heavily injured. Okay, that seems legit, Battlefield Hardline. Anyways, the team goes to Santa Rosada. And they argue who should go to handle those, but Mendoza wants to do this on his own and he convinces Kai that's a good idea. Tyson looks more like he had a rough hockey game than his freaking face blown up by the goddamn bomb! But if this one is supposed to be a Cop TV series tribute, then I guess it kinda worked that way back in Miami Vice days. Mendoza penetrates Dawes' private paradise fortress and step by step reaches Dawes' office. Dawes plays it cool and tries to mess with Mendoza with a classic "you're not a killing me" kinda guy. Then he even offers him a job as his right arm, but Mendoza is like, "Bitch, I'm here for revenge, not a job interview!" And he kills Dawes, cold-blooded. But wait, what's that? There's a letter on the desk, addressed to Mendoza. Dawes predicted Mendoza was killing him and now he reveals to him his secret basement, explaining how he operated. Basically, it is what it is and the drug business is giving everyone too much money and too many people are involved just to end it like that. But since you killed me, I guess now it's yours. Do what you want. And the game ends with a cliffhanger asking a question: what are you going to do? And everyone has to answer this one for themselves. So what would you do? Keep the money and run the empire? Or try to bring justice and stop the drug shipments? That was Battlefield Hardline story recap, and leave a thumbs up if you liked the video and subscribe the channel if you don't want to miss other video game recaps.